What is up, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of The Unusual Suspects. I'm your host, Vincent Oshana, at least the last time I checked. We have a ridiculous show lined up for you guys today. Before I tell the stories, I'm going to go around and introduce everybody really fast. We have old school NFL football player Chris Mano. We have Rob Garjul in the house. We have Connor, and we have Kayvon. Guys, we have so much to talk about. Before I even get into the stories, for some of you guys that know, Pat came up with a app called Connect. It is blowing the hell up. It's a place where you can talk to experts, get advice. If you just need to talk to somebody, if you want something, help with social media, with YouTube, with videos, with life, with entrepreneur stuff, this is the app. Have you gotten it yet?
I'm on there.
All right. Kayvon's on there. I am on there. Kelly's on there, and Kelly's blowing up right now. People are asking her everything from her faith to her channels to YouTube. It's guys. Rob, are you on there?
I am.
Rob Garjulo's on there. Chris.
I am.
Chris is on there. Connor.
I am about to be.
You son of a.
And Shane from VT.com is also on there.
And Shane's on there. But guys, it's a freaking amazing app. We're changing lives. We're helping people. I mean, I've even connected people myself because I needed advice with something. So it's an amazing app. If you haven't downloaded it, go to the App Store, download it. And all right, guys, so the stories, just to give you guys a quick run through what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about illegals being able to have guns, Trump on JFK, Kate Middleton and what's happening in England. We're going to talk about Kayvon. Something happened at a college. We're going to talk about that.
Not again.
The criminal justice system. We're going to get into that with Connor a little bit. And Dan Schneider with the show called, this documentary that just came out, it's going to piss you guys off. I have some videos that I'm going to show. But yeah, we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get right into it. Chris, your story, you sent this to me the other day, and I thought it was a joke. I told you, I thought it was a Babylon Bee story. Illegals with guns. What is going on?
All right, so this week, corrupt Obama-appointed federal judge Sharon Johnson Coleman has ruled illegal immigrants are all good to start carrying firearms. So now the Second Amendment not only applies to U.S. citizens, but also these foreign invaders who've already proven disregard and disrespect for our laws. Obviously, this is the next phase in their master plan. We know this now, right? As despite differences, they've made sure to sow within us, whether it be our race, our color. We have one thing that kind of unites us still, and that's we're Americans. So it's real hard for them to sort of kind of get us to fully buy into like a civil war. So what are they doing? And now they're pumping in their own soldiers. So,
dude. So
yeah, it's a crazy time, man.
Where is she? What state is this?
Was
she Texas?
Where is she? Yes. Matter of fact, she may be.
But dude,
this is the lovely Sharon.
So wait,
so
where's she at? It's already passed. She's already said or she's introducing this bill.
Yeah, she tried to put it through last week. I think they put a halt to it right now. But
what is your motivation as a judge to let a person that can give two shits about anybody in this country, as if we're not learning that, guess what? Obviously not all of them, but a couple of illegals have been going around the country raping underage girls, shooting them after they raped them. Like, what kind of stupid... can I take a wild guess? Is she a Democrat?
That's a great guess.
Wow.
Oh, am I?
Good job,
man.
Let's be honest here. It's not like the illegal immigrants were waiting for permission to carry guns. Because you just said, they're going around, they're raping, they're shooting. Yeah, they're shooting with the guns they already had. So
yeah,
thanks, Judge. You gave them permission to do what they were doing.
And it's crazy how quickly it's happening, because in just a matter of the last few years now, there's been more illegals now moved over here than the population of 36 different states. So their army is growing, and it's growing fast.
Oh my God.
And we've seen these people have no regards for our laws. So what makes us think now that they're going to,
I think what they're trying to do is create a total controversy where now there's so many guns and so many illegals using them that they have to crack down on the Second Amendment. So they're making it so prolific that they can actually take it away.
What a great tactic. If you're like, hey, listen, gun crime, like people are killing civilians. They're not going to say that they're illegal or not.
No.
It's just this person was shot, this person was murdered. Bro, it's all a freaking plan. And Connor, I forgot a while ago you had a story. What was it? Do you remember?
Yeah, I was going to bring this up. Dick Durbin, a senator from Illinois, I believe, proposed this a little while ago of supplementing declining military recruitment numbers by allowing illegals to come into the army. And great, they're already armed. Might as well give them military training and use them to fight our enemies abroad sure.
Right.
Bro, like,
that's absolutely not going to come back to bite us.
Can I ask you guys a question, Rob? I want to know your opinion too. When this type of by the way, this is a federal judge. This isn't even
Correct.
if it was just a rinky-dink judge. You are a judge. Like the system trusts you beyond reasonable doubt. Like you're the person. Rob, what? At the end of the day, these people still have to live in the same country that you're doing all this shit to. What is the end game goal? Are they promised to be taken care of when the takeover happens? I don't get it.
But do they have to live in the same country that you and I live in? Like, yeah, they may live in the United States of America, but they're not going to experience the same things that you're experiencing, that I'm experiencing. Unfortunately, there's a have and have not system in this country where certain people, when you reach a certain level, you're protected from this. It's easy for Bill Maher to go on his podcast and go, I don't see what's wrong with California, when you have a personal driver that picks you up at your house, drives you to the studio. Yeah. Like we had, these people aren't dealing with the everyday consequences of these actions.
Got you.
Whereas the average American citizen is. And that's why you're hearing citizens of the United States going, enough. Why are we just handing out cash to migrants? Why are we sending these people to Chicago and putting them up in apartments and giving them $1,000 towards furniture? Why are we evacuating children's shelters in Boston and housing migrants there? The actual people that are in these communities are now rising up and saying enough is enough, because the elites that are making these decisions don't have to suffer the consequences that we do. So I feel like there is pushback. It's just there's a problem of getting all of these people that are pushing back in Chicago. They're pushing back in New York. They're pushing back in Boston. They're pushing back in Texas, right? It's all over the place of these small people pushing back, but there's no way we need to find a way to unite those voices for a greater good, and we haven't found a way yet.
There's another common denominator here too. Look at who was pushing against the bill for Texas to start deporting illegals directly. Look at this thing that Chris just brought up. What's the kind of the common through line in all these immigration bills? Female judges.
Oh, that's a great point.
And it's not a can of worms most people are willing to open up.
Open it.
But liberal female judges are having a catastrophic effect on policy around the country. You remember a couple months ago where there was that guy who was being sentenced for some random thing, and he did a flying leap over the bench and started trying to attack the judge?
Was that New York?
I forget where that was.
I think it was New York.
But did you
in
see
Las Vegas?
Yeah, if it was Vegas. It was a great jump, by the way.
Did you see the follow-up to that where the guy appeared back before the judge for sentencing 3 days later?
What happened?
They had him in like
Full
Hannibal
beam mask.
Lecter, right? His whole face was masked.
The book got thrown at him. He got charged with assault on an elderly person, assault on an officer of the court, 30 different charges. And so, suddenly when someone attacks a judge directly, they turn into an Old West hanging judge.
Yeah.
Had he would have gotten a slap on the wrist if he had just kept his hands to himself.
That's a great point. Yeah. So if he attacks somebody else, yes, there's a punishment and maybe he'll get sentenced to jail. But look at how the consequences are when it's somebody in a position of power.
When it takes a flying leap over the bench and starts trying to punch you in the face, suddenly it's a problem.
Yeah, he's flying through the subway car and beating us up, and we just have to deal with it. But don't touch the judge. Don't touch a Biden member.
Of course.
I like how when Donald Trump took a few documents from his presidency and kept them in Mar-a-Lago,
which is
very
legal,
safe place to be kept. They're like, no one is above the law. But as soon as illegals are above the wall, then they're like, oh, we don't need to enforce every law.
Yeah.
And
Same thing happens with me. With a parking ticket, they're on my ass.
Yeah.
But with someone crossing a border, they're like, they
don't give a
do
shit.
drugs on the side of the
Biden is too old and stupid to be held accountable for taking documents with him.
I thought that's where you're going. It's like Trump, legally, he was the president. He could take it. Biden, by the way, was with a ghostwriter and was telling him all this secret shit.
Every
and they're
secret.
Like, he's old and crazy.
His defense was he's
but
too
he's a
stupid.
nice guy.
Yeah, he's old. And he loves his son, the crackhead. That's fatherly love for your crackhead degenerate. Chris, what were you going to say?
Yeah, you saw how abundantly clear the difference in classes are here when the COVID thing happened. When every rule that they try to implement against us civilians, they broke.
Right.
That was sort of what gave me the idea that maybe this isn't serious. I shouldn't be afraid to fly if you're flying your mother on Easter. And I shouldn't be afraid to go to this restaurant if you guys are having 15 people parties at the restaurant.
But you don't understand. They also quarantined. They suffered too in their 20,000 square foot palatial estate. They live the same COVID restrictions that you did.
And back to something you were just talking about. It's so funny to me when a guy like Bill Gates is tasked with deciding the fate of civilians, a guy who hasn't been to a supermarket in 3 decades.
Yeah.
He's supposed to tell me how this is going to impact my regular life or your regular life, you know? And he's an interesting one, man, going from a tech master to a vax master to a fake meat master. Like this guy knows everything.
Let me explain something to you. I'm a Christian. Right. I try as hard as I can to follow, you know, in the footsteps of, there's a misconception when you're a Christian, and Kelly can vouch for this. When you're trying to be a good Christian, people go, hey, you made a mistake? I thought you were a Christian. Yeah, but I never said I'm perfect, idiot. I'm trying to walk in the footsteps, and I'm going to fall a bunch of times. But my point that I'm trying to get to is, especially with the Bible and reading into, you know, what were you talking about? Like, the Antichrist hasn't revealed himself yet. We don't know who the hell this thing is going to be. Bill Gates would be one of those candidates where I'm like, who the fuck? This guy, and by the way, did you guys see what Obama said at some speech the other day? I don't know if he was in England talking. He's like, yeah, that whole COVID experiment, we did all the testing on we did a test on 1 billion people. He might be on the list as well. But go ahead, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I'm a big believer still in the fact, like, if I know this guy's face or name, I kind of feel like they're just like vessels. Like, I feel like the people who are really making the choices, if we know their name, they're not important. If we know their face, they're not super important. But that's just me.
But think about how powerful those people must be to be able to control Bill Gates.
Absolutely.
With all of the money that Bill Gates has, all the assets.
Well, Rob, I think they let, like, listen, he's smart, he has the ideas. They let you get that. Like, hey, listen, nobody gets that rich and influential. That's why, like in Hollywood, and we keep hearing these stories, and trust me, we'll get into it, or all these music moguls or Sony or what they did with Michael Jackson, to get to here, we're the gatekeepers. You're never going to see our face. To let you in, we have to own your ass.
Yep.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, there's meetings where they're like, take off your pants. Do this. Bring a guy in there. And bro, this is a no-brainer, because I can't give you the keys to the castle, so to speak, until I have, because by the way, it's my castle, but you're talented and you're good enough. We're going to give you this pedestal, but I'll be damned. Can you imagine them giving Taylor Swift all this power, and then Taylor one day goes like this, I'm Taylor Swift and I support Donald Trump. They're going to have a freaking heart attack.
Isn't that sort of what they're saying is happening with Justin Bieber now? Like, Justin Bieber was like the poster boy for everything for the longest time. He was the face of everything. If you could have gotten him to speak on your behalf, you're going to get a whole
And what do you think happened to that guy?
Well, they said he found Christ, and now he's kind of feeling guilty about maybe some of the stuff that he was taught or he believed earlier. And where's Justin Bieber been for the last year?
Well, he had that stroke thing on his face, but for me, my personal...
And his wife, too.
My personal opinion, and guys, and we can all have them. You could disagree if you want. I have a feeling, especially with the shit that I saw with Diddy and the industry and the documentary that I just saw, bro, these young kids are fucking getting preyed upon.
Oh, yeah.
And when I saw videos of Diddy, and there's a video of Justin Bieber in a nightclub, and the camera turns, and Odell Beckham is standing there at a table in New York, and Odell Beckham's friend goes, hey, yo, Justin Bieber's head is in his crotch, and they both come up, and they look like they were caught doing something. It's not abnormal for these people to take advantage of these kids. And I think Justin Bieber is one of those examples where he's like, bro, I have to turn to God, because the stuff that they made me do, the stuff that I was involved in to get to Bieber level. If you see the videos of Justin Bieber, like younger women were like all over him on shows, older women, and like being perverted. He was uncomfortable on camera multiple times going, this is weird.
Well, to your point, you know, Olivia Rodrigo, she's the new Justin Bieber age level person where they're kind of pushing it. And if you go to her concert, it comes with a free birth control Plan B pill.
Wait, what?
For any young teenage girl that wants one.
Are you joking?
No, I'm not joking at all. And there's condoms for the guys that want them too. This is a 21-year-old pop star.
And guess where she came from? She grew up in Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
weird.
have a problem with the condoms, though. Like, I have no issue with the condom, right? It's preventative.
Right.
It's protection. I have a problem with the Plan B, because then, and I don't want to say that all girls would do this, but then if they're being given that and they use it once as a form of birth control, it opens that doorway to using Plan B as a birth control method, and that's not what it was intended for.
Well, my whole point is, you go to a concert, we used to be lucky if we got a CD of the artist that was performing, like,
or
hey,
t-shirt,
or t-shirt. Now you're like, Mom, can I get some condoms and some Plan B? And the thing about it is, if Olivia Rodrigo said, I want to hand out Bibles to everyone, her sponsorships would dry up. She would never get another show, and that's what happened with Justin Bieber. And another guy that was on the good boy list for the longest time was Elon Musk. He's pushing everything they wanted. They wanted the electric cars. They wanted to go green. He's all about it. But as soon as he spoke out against him, it is a full court press right now to take Elon down.
Well, and
big time.
And what's great about him is he leans into it. Okay, you want to come after me? I'll double down, and I'll post immigration videos and go hard in the paint.
And I'm going to come to you, because have you, bro, and I know you guys have seen it, go to Elon's X timeline for the past 6 months to a year, he has gone completely, like he's woken up. Mind you, I'm still skeptical about the whole AI, chips in the head, but he isn't, like you said, he is all in and he's anti-left, and I absolutely love it.
It's fun.
I love it. Chris, go ahead, in closing. We got
look, those are the scariest people to them, right? It's the people who reach that Bieber status or that Elon status where they actually do have serious influence over a generation. I think about it with LeBron in my field a lot, with sports.
Yeah.
It's a guy who actually does have the ear of an entire generation, or a girl, Taylor Swift, who can completely get a group of people, a full demographic, on board or off board when they decide to, step out and say something they're not supposed to. They're terrifying.
Dude, have you genuinely seen any of her concerts? Kelly, you've seen these? Have you seen her concerts, Taylor Swift?
Yep.
Guys, there's cameras on TikTok of she starts singing a song they've all heard a million times. They're crying and falling and fainting. Like, I'm talking about Michael Jackson status, where it's like, bro, music, it's so influential. And you're right. All she has to do, bro, if Taylor Swift went on stage or just did a commercial that she paid for and went, hey, guys, buy Fiji water, I'm telling you right now, the stock would freaking skyrocket. Well, it's very, very influential and powerful.
The screaming and the crying as they watch her perform and everything. You know what that is, right?
Hysterics?
That is a religious experience.
100%.
As people have become less religious, they have substituted it with other things.
Yeah.
And you see how powerful she is, too, because she took one of the biggest brands in the country. I mean, the NFL is a $8 billion a year business, and she just jacked it up like 5 notches. She took the NFL to a place I'd never even seen the NFL, which is just crazy.
But one thing, I think that those girls hopefully will grow out of that phase of listening. Because listen, I was one of those crying, like Springsteen.
The Taylor Swift?
No, Springsteen. Which okay, I don't like his policies. I don't like his politics.
He's a douchebag.
But I love his music. I grew up in
too.
Jersey. That was the music that we listened to growing up. When he plays "Born to Run," I'm a
You're
baby.
running.
There's
You're
tears.
running.
But guess what? As I grew up, I started paying attention to the news, reading, educating myself, and I can enjoy his art, but hate his politics.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so I can separate the two. Hopefully, this generation of Taylor Swift fans gets that same point.
That's a good point.
Yeah, no, very good point. All right, guys, we're going to be moving on. Second topic, speaking of Rob G. Rob, Trump on JFK? What are we talking about?
An article came out on the 17th of March from The Independent. The title of the article, Trump's cryptic remarks on JFK assassination raise eyebrows. We've talked about this on this podcast before, the JFK assassination.
Yeah.
For me, one of the first, and I hate to use the term, but it's been labeled this, it was the first conspiracy theory that I ever read about. Yeah. I remember where I was, Steve McAvoy's house. It couldn't have been any later than 1996 or 7 when I saw that video for the first time. Do you guys remember your first diving into some type of
Different for JFK?
Was it JFK? Was it 9/11?
9/11 was mine because I was in the military and I saw some suspect shit. But then the JFK thing, when I watched the movie JFK with Oliver Stone, I was
Costner?
like, Kevin Costner, great. By the way, if you haven't seen it, trust me, it's long, but watch it. It made me go, Rob, because the saying conspiracy theory was created by the CIA to make people not question the FBI and the CIA because of the JFK, right?
Yes. I mean, but it is a conspiracy is when any group of people assemble and work for a common goal, right? That
happens all the time.
Conspiring.
Yeah.
They made it a bad term by calling it a conspiracy theory, but for me, JFK was the first one. It was the first one. The first time I ever went down a rabbit hole, I saw it. I went, that's really weird. You're watching a president's head get shot off. And so it's now 2024. It's been 24 years since I saw that video for the first time, and it was. Go ahead.
I want to ask you a question. In 1996, where are you diving deep into a rabbit hole? If there's, you know what I mean?
Books. At that point, it was books. We went to. I remember watching it at Steve McAvoy's house. His parents had it. Maybe it was like an NBC or a Dateline type show, but back then there was cable that you would watch.
We had these things called libraries.
Yeah, and so we watched that, and then I went to the library, started getting books about JFK. I became fascinated about his life, read more into the shooting. But I was 13.
Did you ever do microfiche? Remember that? You go on a computer and you have like a magnifying glass and you're reading old articles. They would have hundreds. Yeah, it was weird.
Wait, Rob, I'm not to cut you off. I'm still baffled. You know how to read?
Yes, that's right.
Holy shit.
I learned very well.
Okay, he likes the internets too, but go ahead.
I do. So this has been something for 25 years of my life that I've really been paying attention to. And every year we get closer and closer to finding out what actually happened, but then we always never end up finding out what happens. March 17th article from The Independent. In a conversation with Andrew Napolitano in 2021, this according to Judge Napolitano, just before leaving office, Donald Trump made intriguing statements regarding the release of the JFK assassination records. Trump refused to release the records despite previous promises, suggesting that the information being withheld was significant. Kelly, if we could pull up the clip. Here's a clip of Judge Napolitano talking about what Donald Trump said to him, and I'd like to hear your guys' opinions on
great.
In my last conversation with President Trump in the White House, he called me a lot. And this is after January 6th, so it's 2 weeks before, or a week before he's leaving office. He wanted to run past me the names of people he was going to pardon and sentences he was going to commute. He wanted my opinion on them. Some of them I knew. I said, how you doing? He said, not too well. And he went off into a tangent about what he thought happened with the election. I said, you made a promise to the public many times and to me privately that you haven't kept. What? I'll take care of it right now. I said, you promised you would release the records of the JFK assassination. He said to me, Judge, if they showed you what they showed me, you wouldn't have released it either. And I said, what? Who's they and what did they show you? And then he said, Judge, someday when we're on the phone, and then he raised his voice, and there aren't 15 people listening to the phone call, back to a normal voice, I'll tell you.
Holy shit.
That's
this makes it sound even worse. Who are they? Probably somebody in the intelligence community. What did they show him? JFK's brains blown out?
This is it.
That's good.
It was said by
dude,
one.
What a
very interesting, because I would consider Judge Napolitano one of the more credible people that you see on mainstream media.
One of my favorites. I love him.
And Trump did make several promises to release the JFK files. In fact, there's an article here from the Washington Examiner. This is from May of last year, where he pledged to release all of the JFK files. I will release everything else, according to Trump. This comes after Trump's first presidential term, in which he promised to release thousands of JFK files during his first term, but withheld thousands more due to FBI and CIA concerns. The release was prompted by the 1992 Kennedy's Assassinations Records Coalition Act, setting a deadline for 2017. When that deadline came and went, he released thousands of records, but held back thousands more. Not the first time that Trump has said this, though. Back during his administration, he did promise the release, said he would release 99% of the records. But it's very interesting that we're still here, 60 years later.
I want to know what's in those files, because for some reason, every president has said, don't show the people. There is something in there.
Let's be honest. Let's just call it for what it is. We know that the government was involved. There's absolutely zero way, because they tested sharpshooters. They got all the best shooters in the world at the time. Nobody could make that shot
twice
with the bolt action. Guys, mind you, I'm an expert in two guns, in the M16 and the 9mm. I've shot with an updated 1990, what was it? In 2000, I was shooting at moving targets with the sophisticated gun that I had with a sight on it. You know how hard it was to hit just this white thing that's from here to where the camera is? It was almost impossible. You had to lead it. And you mean to tell me this guy who sucked at shooting was up? It's unbelievable. But the bigger the lie, the more you yell it, the more people believe it. But you know why he can't say it? Because if we find out that the government, any agency was involved with killing the president of the United States, the FBI gone, CIA gone, and then we as a society are fucked. We're done.
Do you think that there would still be that amount of outrage 60 years later?
Rob, if the right person and the right evidence and the shit that he's talking about is seen, because that's the problem. It's like, listen, I understand these people that are above us, they think that we're too dumb and we can't handle it. No, we want to know the truth, because how can we ever get better or fix it? Because, well, they don't want to let go of that power. That power is, you have to trust the intelligence community. That's the people that are protecting you when you sleep at night. It's like, I think, Rob, if Trump came up and he had actual proof instead of just words and showed it, yes, they'd be outraged, and people would be like, "Yo, FBI, all you guys, finish."
Well, and all the characters from this are dead, right? It happened 60 years ago.
So they did a great job at that.
But the agencies are not.
Still, exactly.
And that's what I wanted to bring up, because what did Trump say? And what do all these people keep saying? It's intelligence community concerns. It's not like an assassination from 60 years ago has national security implications, unless the implication is that it would dismantle the intelligence agencies that do all the stuff now. And Rob, back to your earlier question about like what was your first conspiracy theory when you were growing up? For me, it was obviously 9/11, around like 2010, 2011, when I was in middle school. We finally started having access to the internet.
Me feel so old.
You know,
When I was in
old
middle
man.
school in 2010, I graduated college.
Yeah, so for example, in 2012, when Obama was running for re-election, I was 15.
Oh.
So
Did you vote for him?
I did not. I would not have, even if I could have. But you start looking into all the stuff about 9/11. That's what gets you into it when you're someone my age.
Oh, yeah.
And you sort of start to realize all the things that have been in place since the Kennedy assassination that led to things like 9/11, or H.W. Bush coming up in the CIA right after Kennedy under Johnson.
Doesn't remember where he was the day that probably one. I remember exactly where I was on 9/11. How, as a CIA director and president, do you not remember? I mean, in the future you become those, but how do you not? You don't make those and get to those positions by being a dummy and having a faulty memory.
And then Herbert Walker Bush becomes president. He's all in with the Saudis. George W. does the same thing. And then the Saudis, as they have now started to expose, were heavily involved in 9/11, and they denied it for 2 decades. So you sort of start to see where, if they admit that the CIA and all these other organizations killed Kennedy, the implications for what it means for the things that came next is pretty significant.
You want to know what the worrisome part to me is? How many times have we seen in the last couple of years these 3-letter agencies be proven just so false and dishonest and all that, and somehow, some way they find a way to propagandize everything and make people just forget about it? Like, I'm not even convinced that if we found out tomorrow the FBI or the CIA set the whole thing in motion, here are the facts for it, they just say this guy's crazy, that guy's crazy, this guy's lying. And I feel like in a week they'd find a way to have a shooting happen here, and we'd move on to the next thing.
Well, dude, it's set up. The system is set up. I always tell people, like, picture a pyramid. It's the really elite, they're up here. Then it's the police state, FBI, CIA, officers, military. And then everybody else is down here. You can't get to them because those agencies are, bro, like, how many times do we have to find out there's failure of intelligence? They let this happen. 9/11, we knew, but whoops, we didn't take them serious. During the election, FBI had 81 agents and they were chilling at Twitter, stopping all these stories. Bro, I'm telling you right now, these people are the enemy of the people. From mainstream media to all these agencies, they think, I'm telling you right now, we are less than they are.
Every 5 to 10 years, they'll declassify documents and make them public, confirming,
gives a shit.
hey, we actually did all that horrible stuff in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s, but we promise we stopped.
Yeah.
And we're the good guys now.
And then what they'll do occasionally is they'll just throw their thing down on the table and let you know how powerful they are, because you finally do get a group of people together to come for a common goal, let's say January 6th, and they make sure that never happens again. Because go ahead, you guys decide that you want to get, you guys want to come together and fight back against us, and this is what the ramifications are going to be.
Well, the Hunter Biden
4
laptop.
years for. So,
and then Rob, go ahead, buddy.
You had mentioned
Thanks, Cal.
the word propaganda, and I wanted to play something. So this came out, we actually covered the release of this Netflix documentary, American Conspiracy, The Octopus Murders. Have you guys watched it? Have you guys seen it?
I still haven't seen it.
It's good. It's good. You should watch it. But it delves into Danny Casolaro, who was a investigative journalist who was investigating a conspiracy dubbed the Octopus, and it was this whole international crime network that involved the highest elites of the United States government. But in that, there is a portion where they talk with an investigative journalist named Sherry Seymour, who claims that one of the main characters that Danny Casolaro was investigating, his name is Robert Booth Nichols. He's a guy who had no ties to the intelligence community, but was paid by them. There was nothing. There was no actual like.
That's the tie.
There was no actual, but they would not like. He had no actual job title. He had no like pay stubs. Right. There was no actual trail of evidence to this guy until there was this weird pyramid scheme that fell apart in New York, a financial Ponzi scheme that fell apart in New York, and he was somehow tied to it. So they deposed this Robert Booth Nichols guy during that time, and he had to admit under oath about his ties to the intelligence agencies. But the entire time he was working for them, nobody ever knew. It was never confirmed.
Weird.
This investigative journalist, Sherry Seymour, talks about meeting Robert Booth Nichols, the guy Danny Casolaro was investigating. That guy, Danny Casolaro, ends up dead, slit his wrist like 12 times in a bathtub in a hotel room by himself.
Weird.
But here's a clip of Sherry from the documentary talking about Robert Booth Nichols, showing her an edited version of the Zapruder film, and listen to what she has to say about it.
Okay.
But then he slowed it way down. And it was so slow that you could almost see the air moving. Then you saw the driver take a gun and go like this and shoot Kennedy. And the bullet comes out of the gun this slow. Very, very, very slow. And it hits Kennedy in the head. And you see everything flying out of his head.
Whoa.
And I'm thinking, this isn't the tape I ever saw before.
Oh.
So I said, is this a doctored tape? What's this about? And he said, this is the original one. And I said, no, you know. And he says, well, I'm going to show you the one that you've seen on the media. Wow. Now, the next tape is your typical one where the driver just keeps driving, never even flinches with the gun. And he stops the tape. And he says, look at the tree.
Oh, shit.
And there's the top of a tree growing in air.
Like a
And he says, this is the one that you're seeing on the media.
Wow.
And it's been doctored. He looked very, very intently at me and he said, nothing is as it appears to be.
I believe
That's
that.
good.
Wow.
Now,
That makes way more sense to be shot point blank range from the car.
well, especially when you look to the back and to the left, right? It's back and to the left this way. How would he get shot from up behind him down and his head go back this way?
And, but that raises a very important point, because if that happened, why did Jackie Kennedy never talk about that?
Well, because think about it. I think in that
Right next to
moment,
him.
because if he just did this, she's looking out the window.
Yeah.
You're saying
out
in
of
the
car.
video he turns.
Yeah, he
and
turns, but she's looking
she
out
was
way
seeing
back.
that.
Well, at that point, he'd already been struck in the neck, right?
Say
So
what
it's not
now?
the fatal shot. He had
Yeah.
been,
Oh.
he had been struck in the neck, so he's down like this. She turns to him. So theoretically, it may be possible for the driver to turn around and shoot. But Kelly, if you could play the next video is actually the Zapruder film. If you remember, in that video, she says that she saw a video that showed the driver shooting him. Then the video that the original video doesn't have the tree missing, or the original
top of the
video that
tree.
you see on TV has the tree missing. The one that she showed. Sorry, I'm getting
No,
confused.
I'm
hearing
excited,
talking.
Rob.
Yeah,
Kelly's shocked in the back.
let's just play the.
Show it, Kel. And then Rob, tell us.
right there.
Rob, the tree's normal now, right?
So they fixed the tree.
Yeah. So
what
the one
it-
that you normally see, the whole point of this was the one that you normally see, this one right here.
This is normal?
There is the tree. Yes, this is the original footage from the Zapruder film, although there are missing frames and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Look,
Oh, now the tree's there.
Wow. So
Can you back that up and freeze on the tree real quick?
So the tree.
Yeah, right
so,
there. Right there.
the claim that the one that he showed her with the driver, right, is not the original one, not the one that we see, because the tree is missing in the one that she showed, and in this one the tree's there. I'm doing a terrible job explaining this.
No, but I get it, bro. I get it. And Rob, and by the way, guys, to prove how ridiculous the Warren Commission, the Warren Report was, they proved in a court of law that the president of the United States died with something called the magic bullet theory. And I don't know if you guys know this or not. You know what the word magic basically is? It's make-believe. It's fake. They showed the thing where the bullet came in, hit everybody like 7 times, and they said the bullet went in somebody's wrist, made a complete U-turn, and then went backwards. It's all bullshit. I don't believe any of it.
I did a report months ago, like right when I first started at VT, actually. There was a guy who was a Secret Service agent behind that car who said he found the bullet And they said, they lost the bullet. It fell out of somebody's somebody in the back of the car.
On the tourniquet.
This guy said he was at the hospital and he found it on the stretcher of the guy, which means if it was still in his leg to fall out, that means the angle was completely different.
Yep. And the bullet was pristine. They found in the hospital. Like somebody just went boop.
There's a great documentary that I believe it's on Amazon Prime. I don't know the title, but if you just put in JFK assassination, it'll tell you in the description. They interview all of the key medical personnel that responded. The guy, like the CIA agent that found the bullet, the nurse that also saw the intact bullet on the stretcher at the hospital, the doctors that were in the hospital the day of, the treating doctors, the guy that came in and pronounced him dead. It's so weird. They did that 5, 6, 7 years ago. Now most of those players are dead, but the documentary is really good because you get to hear firsthand accounts of them finding an intact bullet. But what's most interesting about the Zapruder film to me isn't the actual film itself, and there's a lot of weird stuff with the Zapruder film. In fact, there's not a slide for this, but I'll just tell you, there's 6 frames were damaged during preparation for the publication by Life.
Of course.
So there's this weird, some of the frames were missing, then they were later recovered, they were returned to normal, they were restored. But the most interesting part, and I never knew this, in all of these years, did you know that Zapruder, Abraham Zapruder, the guy that took the film, he was only one of 32 people in Dealey Plaza that day that is known to have film or still photographs at the time or around the time of the shooting. So there are 32 other people that may have filmed this. I had never heard that before.
I thought it was just him.
I've only seen that footage. So there's other footage out there of JFK being assassinated. Why haven't we seen that? And do you guys think we'll ever, I know we talked about it earlier, but do you ever think that we'll get the full story? Do you think the government ever comes out and goes, our bad, we did it, like you said, we did it a long time ago, but Trump, you're safe. We'll never do that again.
No.
RFK, you're safe. Yeah, we're sorry about your uncle, but listen, and your dad, we also did that one too. But we're sorry about both of those. We won't do it to you. Do you ever think we'll get that honesty out of the
Our
federal
best bet was Trump, and Trump is refusing to post it.
Absolutely not.
All we know is now at least everyone has their phone out, so there's going to be 40,000 takes of any event.
That's why they can't get away with murder, but 100% not. But I know this. Everybody always says, don't say 100%. 100% they were involved, and they killed the guy for the reason of being anti-war. Period.
Do you think if RFK, by some type of miracle
Hail Mary.
or magic, right, some weird way, RFK ends up winning the presidency, do you think he would release the files?
I think he's the most likely.
You do?
I do.
But then guess what's going to happen to him? He's going to accidentally fall down a flight of stairs.
It's not even that, though. I think that no matter who it is, if somebody decides they find a conscience within themselves to say it or release it, they're just going to say they're crazy. We've seen the tried and true a million times.
Yeah,
this person's crazy, unreliable.
Well, they've already, and they've done that with RFK, with the vaccine stuff. But what's really interesting is, okay, who has the most motive to release this information that would do terrible damage to the credibility of the FBI, CIA, NSA, the 3-letter agencies, right? RFK has the most motive to be elected and release it. So if you've noticed over the past week, there's been a lot of weird stuff with RFK, right? Okay, there's always the COVID vaccine stuff. But then it was, hey, he's considering Aaron Rodgers to be his VP. By the way, Aaron Rodgers doesn't think Sandy Hook shooting happened, which isn't actually what he said. He thought there was another person involved in the shooting. Then Joe Biden mysteriously, for some weird reason, takes a photo with 40 members of the Kennedy family for an Easter celebration. They're not related to Joe Biden. Why would Joe Biden take photos with his opponent's family?
To show that the entire opponent or the entire family supports him.
To discredit RFK.
Yeah.
And the scary part, and this is where it gets exciting, is that RFK's announcement coming, I believe the 26th, is his VP candidate, who everybody is saying is
the ex-wife of the Google founder,
Sergey Brin's ex-wife.
Nicole Shanahan.
How much money is that woman worth? Think of it. She married the guy that founded Google. Those dudes are worth billions. So all of a sudden, now there's a change to this game where election 2024, if you really want to find out who killed Kennedy, who killed RFK, there's actually a shot that maybe RFK could win this, because now he at least has the funding to be able to participate if this becomes his vice presidential candidate.
Wow.
Yeah, what I was going to say with RFK releasing the files is that I could very easily see a scenario in which, if he wins somehow, he's in there and he says, all right, I demand every file we have on the Kennedy assassination. And they bring him 4 out of the 5 boxes and say, no, Mr. President, this is all of them. You can release all this. And they will just refuse to acknowledge that the other stuff that they held back. It's like, are you sure this is all of it? And like, yeah, we swear.
Yeah, there's
because
no
if the cover-up runs this deep,
Yeah.
They would lie to a president who wanted to do this very easily.
Kelly, is it
Like,
cool if we show that clip of just staying on this because we talked about this before the show. Like, Rob, releasing it, like you speaking the way that you're speaking. Me and Kayvon, I know you've had this, Connor, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if you guys have been at the level yet where people are like, dude, why are you doing this? And, how much would they, if they paid you to shut the hell up? Because, bro, this is a real thing. If you have a big mouth and people offer money. And I saw this clip yesterday of James O'Keefe, who I know personally, and I think this guy is a freaking G. If you haven't done research on who James O'Keefe was back in, this guy went undercover with a fake underage prostitute. They exposed Acorn during Obama administration with Breitbart. This guy is a freaking legend, and he's talking about the price of how much it would cost for you to shut up or what it is. And I think it's a beautiful, beautiful quote, beautiful thing that he said. Kelly, can we please play this?
Right. Is it 10 million? Is it 20 million? Is it 100 million? What is your price? Because if your price is not your life, then you are for sale. If your price is not your life, then you are for sale. So, if you're going to be a truth teller, your price has to be your life. I can't surround myself with people whose price is not their life. Because the enemy, whatever the enemy is, whether it be physical, legal, spiritual, will attack the vulnerability of the person who can be compromised. So you get real spiritual real fast if you're going to do this type of work.
Wow. Like, dude, let me explain something to you.
That's great.
I got emotional yesterday. The guy, like, your price, if it's not your life, then you're for sale. And that's why what we're doing, bro, I'm telling you guys right now, somebody the other day was like, okay, 50 million, you take the vaccine. No. I will give you all of them. I'm dead serious. Somebody was like, if I gave you $1 million, would you never talk about your conspiracies? I go, absolutely not. Because I'm in it to wake up as many sleeping idiot sheep as possible, because it's not their fault that they've just been brainwashed and bombarded this whole time. And it's up to us. And I think the truth shall set us free. Shout out to James O'Keefe. I love you to death, brother.
Has he ever been on Unusual Suspects?
No, but when he's in Florida, I'm going to definitely have
You should. That'd be a great
I'm
episode.
messaging him after this. All right. Next story. It's me.
It's a me.
It's a me. Guys, have you guys have any of you guys been following what's happening in England? The royal family, it's like on some Game of Thrones shit. Yeah. Have you guys been following it, Rob?
The one thing I did see was there was outrage over Kate Middleton having a Photoshop photo that that they admitted was Photoshopped, but I don't know why anybody cares.
And it keeps and why nobody cares. But here's the thing. Okay, besides King Charles, he has cancer. Nobody's been really seeing him lately.
I forgot about that.
By the way, you know what that means? He's dying.
Right.
Let's just call it what it is, okay? He's old. He's not doing well. There are concerns over the crisis and rumors surrounding Kate Middleton's disappearance, okay, from public life. And some are saying that her health is worse than the people thought, all right? And some rumors are saying that Prince William might even divorce her, okay? No. And this all stems from rumors that William and Rose Hanbury are having an affair. Hanbury, she's 40 years old. She's a member of William and Kate Middleton's inner circle. She has a connection to the royal family going back generations. Her grandmother, Lady Elizabeth Lambert, was one of the bridesmaids in the late Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip's 1947 wedding. So there's history there. Since 2009, she's been married to David Rock Savage, sick last name. He's the 7th Marquis de Chambly. He's 63 years old. Kind of weird. She's a lot younger than him.
Is that a French name?
I don't know what. No, it's just English. I don't know what the hell it is.
Okay.
The couple live in their family's Norfolk estate, Hawtington Hall, which is not far from Amber Hall, where William and Kate estate is. So Kate has been MIA since January, guys, like right around Christmas. By the way, nobody's seen her. All right. Apparently she had abdominal surgery. Even her senior staffers, guys, haven't heard or seen from her. Think about it. The head of her whole staff, she's MIA. It's kind of weird. I don't think people realize this. Like, if you break it down, Rob, if the king dies, Prince William becomes the king. She's the queen.
Whoa.
Think about that, bro. And if God forbid he dies, Prince William, she's just the sitting queen by herself. She runs the show. I don't know what the hell is going on, bro, but it's kind of scary. So on Mother's Day, Rob, you mentioned this. The royal family sent out a doctored photo of her with the family. And then 2 days ago, by the way, and they proved that it was doctored. They admitted it. weird.
We have a whole report on that on VT.com.
On VT.com, who wrote it? You wrote it, Connor?
That was me.
Connor wrote it. Go to VT.com if you want to hear this. It's doctored. They admitted it. They're not even hiding this shit anymore. They tried. And then 2 days ago, they showed a video of Prince William allegedly walking with Kate Middleton, but it doesn't look anything like her. Kelly, can you play, for you guys that know what she looks like, look at this bitch. This is not her. That's not her.
No.
Dude, look, I love this.
That's Kate Toppleton.
Look at, but like, it's like, it's such a setup. Well, put your head down, walk fast. Look, I love this.
The Bidens are taking notes.
Yeah, no shit. Like, bro.
Who is that?
It's her fucking stand-in.
And I think we have a still photo right now.
Yeah, and there's a still photo I'm gonna show.
Zoom in
Like
a little bit.
What do you think?
By the way, and Kelly, is this still photo? Like, by the way, that is not her. I'm telling you guys right now, that is not her. And guess what?
That's a bad stand-in.
That's a horrible stand-in.
That's like
well, Rob,
terrible.
I mean, last minute she's dead. You gotta if she is dead.
Can you go to the Mr. Bean?
Yeah, go to Mr. Bean, Kelly. Kelly, go to the one on the right. Go to the one. Kelly.
Looks like Dylan Mulvaney.
Mr. Bean. It's Dylan Mulvaney. By the way, turns out the person. Mr. Bean's my favorite. The person who allegedly recorded Kate and William is a professional film director. His name is Nelson Silva. How random. He's just in his car recording blah, 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 blah to capture that. Like, what are the chances? So
I love how the video they got of her, by the way, is like Sasquatch footage level quality.
Why is
like how
that-
terrible and shaky it is?
by the way, dude,
I think he'd be better at that.
Something is going on, Rob. You made me laugh so hard with Mr.
And they always seem like they overcompensate with this stuff too. Like I haven't seen a thing on her in months. Now it starts to become a thing, and then there's 5 videos on her in 2 days. It's like, what?
Yeah,
and they do that over here
But this
too.
is the thing.
Like,
But mind you, don't you think that like with all their vast resources, this is the royal fucking family, bro. They do a better job at propagating fake videos. By the way, they've been caught 3 times already. This is 3 times. Something is going on with her. And to add fuel to the fire of internet conspiracies, William has ignored all the questions about her condition. Why? Just tell us what the fuck is that. Now, I'm shocked that we're even talking about it, but I had to because it's like, how many ridiculous things have to happen where you guys just be freaking honest, okay? He won't tell her about her recovery. According to BBC journalist Sandra McLaughlin, Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales, is using a body double. She went on to suggest in a now deleted tweet, because they went after her, that the heir to the throne could have been replaced by an actor. This is a BBC reporter, FYI. And then Obama is just randomly in England on 10 Downing Street meeting with, well, he was there for the Obama Foundation.
Oh, yeah.
Like, bro, all this stuff, there's something, but guys, this is the Game of Thrones. The king has cancer. This guy's cheating. That's a body double. She had surgery, might be offing her. We don't know what the fuck is going on. I love it though, because to me it is like a Game of Thrones, because you never know. And apparently they were supposed to release something this week. There was supposed to be an announcement.
Around Easter is when she's supposed to return to the public eye. And as with most stories about the royal family that aren't like Epstein connected kind of stuff, I'm an American. I don't care. Like, look, what the royals get up to is England's business. I really am not interested. Although I do admit that it's weird, but it's just not my favorite thing to dive into. But as a big student of European history, I will say this. In a more noble and interesting time in European history, when the King of England is dying of cancer and treating it with potions and crystals, the heir and his wife are disappearing under mysterious circumstances, and the backup heir is in exile in a foreign country being up to his own weird stuff.
But it's not even...
France would invade right now.
Holy shit, you're right. I would.
But Harry isn't the backup to William. It's William's kids, right? Well, the wife and then the kids.
The wife and then the kids.
So then all the kids have to go before Harry can take the throne?
But think about this. At the end of the day, bro, who knows what the F is going on, because it's to take over the country. Think about that. You're the king. The king dies. It's William and her. If William falls down the stairs, she's in charge. By the way, she's not in the bloodline of. I know there's a lot of incest and shit that happens over there, but she's not in their blood. Where's
but
Kate Middleton
she's
from?
not necessarily in charge. Like,
well, she'd be the queen, though.
Well, yeah, but she'd be I would assume they'd probably have some sort of regency until their son is old enough.
Well, that's
But
what I'm
the-
saying.
like,
But she'd be
royal-
the mother queen.
Authority wouldn't pass to her. It would go to their oldest son once he
And then he'd be
reached
like
a certain age.
He'd be like that kid from Game of Thrones. What was his
Yeah.
name? That asshole.
Well, this is the days of
the one that got poisoned?
Joffrey.
Joffrey.
Prince Joffrey.
He was so good because by the way, if I saw him in the street right now, I would hate him.
You know that guy quit acting because of how much everyone hated Joffrey on that show?
You know what that means? You did a fantastic job. bro.
He
Kudos
just
to you.
wanted to pursue other things because he
You know,
didn't want to be
in the
that guy
days
anymore.
of social media, it's so easy to just be like, "Hey, Kate, they say you're not here." Say
Yeah,
hello.
easy.
Sorry, guys, we're going to vacation. Goodbye.
Yeah.
That's all it has to be, and
Why
they
not?
won't
Exactly,
do it.
exactly. Just show us what the hell, like the thing that Candace did about what's his name, Marcone's wife, Brigitte. Just show us your brother. Where is that dude?
And then not acknowledging it and keeping it like acting like it isn't being spoken about, it isn't being talked about. It's like the Twitter internet is on fire with Bridget Marcone with this. To not address it just further fuels that speculation. And then their way, they gaslight you because, and I just learned this term for the first time, gaslighting, but that's what
Everyone's
they do.
using it.
Because then they do that and then they go, no, you're crazy for thinking that. Okay, show us the video. Why would we show you a video?
Why?
You're crazy.
Yeah,
we don't
you're
need to prove
crazy.
anything to you.
Yeah, they're very good. I like
Ready
gaslighting.
to have your mind blown, Rob?
Yeah.
Gaslighting's not real. You made it up because you're effing crazy.
Oh, you crazy bastard. All right, guys, moving on to the next story. Kayvon, a show got canceled, and where the hell were you for Turning Point USA? What? I didn't even know about this.
So as comedians, we have the pleasure of going around the country and making people laugh. Sometimes it's comedy clubs, cruise ships, private events, and this was a college gig. Turning Point USA was putting on a college comedy night, and Turning Point is a group that speaks for love of country, love of the Constitution, and freedom of speech. So we're not exactly these far-right radicals. We're actually just inviting everyone to come watch. It's not compulsory to graduate to come to my comedy show.
Yeah.
It's just something fun. So I land in Connecticut. Turning Point USA is putting on the event, and I get a call from the representative. The administrator at UConn has canceled your show. I go, I just bought the flight. I landed here. I got my crew here. I got my baggage. No. And so we get the lady on the phone, and we actually kind of confronted her. She said because of the safety of the students, she couldn't have a comedy show.
Oh, God.
And that's what they're doing. They're hiding behind safety. I have a little video of just kind of a little mini documentary. We'll watch it real quick if it'll play. Here we go. USA, we flew all the way to Connecticut. We're in the rain, and they canceled our show last minute. So we're going to find out what's going on. We're going to go confront the lady who canceled
you
our
guys
show.
going for it?
Yeah. We're here to do the comedy show tonight.
Yes, Jess is going to find you a different venue.
Okay, but we're just trying to figure out, we already did the advertisements. We flew up from halfway across the country, and didn't they do a contract?
They did, but the contract is null and void at this point.
How did it get null and void? We do these things ahead of time. I spent thousands of dollars on my crew, my flights, my hotel rooms, everything.
I'm sorry, where did you fly in from?
I flew in from Florida.
Okay, well, Jess said that she could find you another spot.
What'd she say?
She said, Jess said she can find you another spot. So the whole thing of it is she says, you're too dangerous. I can't ensure the safety of the students in this building.
What that? Did you have a gun on you?
Nothing.
What the hell is she
All
talking?
I have are funny jokes, you know?
my
And so
God.
she said,
Your words are dangerous.
Wasn't worried about the gun, but she was afraid you had a bomb.
Yeah,
was afraid.
exactly.
And you walked up to her office, and she had left early that day for a family emergency, but we had a phone call for 30 minutes. So we go up to her office, and there's the gay flag, there's the trans flag. There was no American flag anywhere.
Oh, she's okay.
And they're pushing this, and she said that you're too dangerous. We can't ensure the safety. Nothing against you, but your contract is null and void. What's the point of having a contract for a comedy night if when you land, they take it away? And then she went on to say, you can go find another building on campus and do it, just not here. If I'm too dangerous for your building, why would you want me anywhere else? If there's a crazy shooter, I'm not going to you can't come in this building, but go down to building business
Did they pay?
administration.
So, Kayvon, what happened with the contract? With
So
the
that's
money?
why I paired up with Turning Point in the beginning, because this was happening to me by myself, just going to shows. Some radical at the school will go through your social media and see one thing you tweeted from 4 years ago, 10 years ago, it doesn't matter, 20 years ago, and say, oh, Vinny can't come to our campus because he made this joke.
About the trans something.
And so I paired up with TPUSA, kind of like joining a gang. You go to, like if you go to prison, naturally Rob would have to become a skinhead. He doesn't want to,
Yeah,
but that's
he
just,
just sees-
and you're
sees
going to
this-
join the Muslim Brotherhood.
Yeah.
And so I joined TPUSA. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So anyways, it was a big pain.
Any money?
Nobody cares. There was no money for me.
You know
for
what's
Mr.
interesting?
Trump.
The people that end up making all that noise and go and do the investigative work are normally not the people who end up even having any intention to go to the show.
Right.
Yeah.
They're just doing it to virtue signal. So they're ruining a time for other people that they had no intention of going to in the first place just to be dicks. That's it. Just to be
That's
a dick.
all it is.
Yeah, it's like so much harder to build a sandcastle than to come and stomp on one. And that's what they do. They stomp. Now, here's the interesting thing. I had already performed there a few years ago. I had no incidents at UConn. And I told the lady that. She goes, "You've performed here?" And it's in their school newspaper. And so I'm like, yeah, why don't you do some research? You want to cancel me so quick?
Well, that's their default answer now, right? So comedy is a threat to people's safety, and Riley Gaines and her mission is a threat to people's safety.
Exactly.
They continue to cancel people as soon as they see them as a threat in any form or fashion. That's the default. We'll go to that, and you can't fight it at this point, right?
But you can support Hamas. You could. I guarantee you.
Oh,
you could
for
have a
sure.
Hamas
Bumper
support
sticker.
terrorism. What do you mean?
From the river
Parade.
to the sea. Let's
Kill
go,
river
everybody.
to the sea. Let's kill all the Jewish people, and they'd be like, "Yes,
right.
yes." You can't do a comedy show.
Go have a
Kayvon,
discussion on
he'd
abortion.
really have to ramp up
Yeah.
the Persian part in order to stay safe
No,
during that.
I'm also half Persian, but because I, perceived as just a regular white guy, all the same crap comes at me.
But what you said, it is a suppression of speech because I really feel like the arts are the last form of free speech that there is, with the exception of certain social media platforms, Twitter,
Totally.
Getter, True Social. I don't know if anybody's even on the other two, but on Twitter, right now, Twitter is a free speech platform.
It's called X, Robert.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Elon Musk has even been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize from the Norwegian Parliament. Stand-up comedy is the same way. And so when they feel that there is a threat, what do? They try and silence that threat. So that is why there's this pushback on the arts and stand-up comedy, because it is it's one of the last forms
And
of
think about what the arts are, because you guys are comedians. I got a liberal arts degree studying English and history and that kind of stuff.
liberal.
Exactly. I was like the only conservative in my liberal arts program.
Were you in the closet?
Yeah.
Were you like in the back? Like
I was
like
taking
Trump.
classes with liberal lesbian feminist professors during the 2016 election.
Oh my
I was like,
God.
I'm gonna just keep my thoughts to myself
Oh
here.
my God.
Yeah.
But the people you run into when you're in the arts, it's very liberal. Like
You think so?
your artists, your poets, your writers, they're all uber libs. The thing is, good art is right wing.
Yeah.
Where the people who made beautiful things and wrote beautiful things and were able to accomplish great things in arts were doing it for the love of country, for the love of God, for all these things throughout history. And once the arts went liberal, they stopped innovating. Look at the guy who had no formal training and carved the greatest sculpture of all time, compared to somebody who went to art school for 15 years, and it's just like a couple water balloons stapled to a chair. And it's like, it's a deconstructive art piece.
Yeah.
No, it's just garbage.
And this is why when you get to that point where they're coming for your neck like that, like Kayvon, like the Rileys, wear that as a badge of honor, man. Like you said, if you're over the target, they're going to come for you. But you got to, when you're there, keep pushing. Man.
Hell
Don't
yeah.
stop.
I think that
Just keep
motivates
going.
me to go more. Like, bro,
100%.
I'm waiting. And I'm sorry you had to go through it, Kayvon. And you helped your cool. I would have been freaking screaming. I would have fucking called the news. I would have gotten naked and be like, I'm gay and they're just doing this because I would have caused the biggest scene at UConn. I would have called
That's
them
what you should.
racist.
Yes.
You should have said I'm racist. You guys are racist because I'm Middle Eastern. I self-identify today as a trans woman. I would have burned that bitch down in the sense of like, I would have been news. I would have been headline news at UConn.
Well, I like what you said about that. I wrote something for VT.com, which is going on there today. That clip I showed you is actually part of a 10-minute clip. Yeah. It got picked up by 2 other news sources. And when I was picking stories for Unusuals, I'm like, well, this is a personal story. Is it really a big deal or not? I think it's actually a huge deal because comedians are the tip of the spear. If it starts happening to us, it's going to get worse. The ACLU, which I'm going to show you right now, they say, we're all for free speech. The First Amendment gives the right for speech that even people find distasteful or they don't like or they don't want to hear, as long as it doesn't bring people to violence. My comedy show does not bring people to violence at all. UConn is one of the biggest recipients of state funds and federal funds in all of Connecticut. They have to abide by the First Amendment. So there is a lawsuit here. I don't know who's going to help me.
Whoever's out there, lawyer up. Get to Kayvon.
Yeah.
Viva Fry.
Oh, Viva.
We know an attorney.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Viva, where are you? He's supposed to be here today.
Yeah.
Another thing that bothers me a lot about it is that's why I joined Valuetainment. That's why I joined Turning Point, because like-minded people need to come together and stick together. This is happening to bigger names than me, but we're all in the same boat together. I want to show you Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro goes on campuses just to speak, Orthodox Jew with a family of 5, I believe, and look what they do. No bigotry, so they hide behind bigotry. You look next, Charlie Kirk. Oh, well, he can't speak. He's a racist. Charlie Kirk is racist against black people. Well, Charlie Kirk's number one friend and hired employee is Candace Owens. She's next. Well, they come for her too. Well, she's also racist against black people. Oh, really? And she's a fascist. And then finally, just like you were saying, Mano, we got Riley Gaines, who she's just a woman who wants her trophies for being the best female swimmer she wants her medals, she wants her time, she wants to be recognized on ESPN. They won't, because this new thing where she's hateful, she's anti-trans, because a guy who recently became a girl can beat her in the swimming.
Well, he didn't even beat her, though. They tied.
Yeah,
they had the same exact time, and they awarded the trophy
Tie
to
goes
Leah
to the
Thomas.
ding.
And you know why they did?
What's
You
a
know
photo
why
op?
they did? Because they said, because he was on Rogan, they said, hey, listen, we get it. You should be the one. You deserve it. But guess what? Our directive, we got to give it to
That's a photo
him,
op.
shim,
Yeah.
she.
Well, you know what they say? Tie goes to the wiener.
Oh, the wiener gets it. Chris, what are you going to say?
Well, look, in any other time, how crazy would it be where Candace is a white supremacist
Right.
and Ben Shapiro is
He's
an
a Nazi.
anti-Semite?
He's a Nazi.
Like, in any other time, we would look at this ridiculousness and it wouldn't last for 2 seconds. And now,
Right.
Part of the problem is, and we've talked about this before, the minority. The minority is what is making the most noise, the vocal minority. So we pay attention to what's making the most noise rather than what makes the most sense. You look at Jim Florentine. There was a group of comedians. Jim Florentine. Who else was with
Oh,
them?
yeah,
Louis
yeah.
J.
Louis
Gomez. There was a group of them. Four
Yep.
guys.
Dave
that were,
Smith? Was he in there?
Dave Smith. Yes, they were
Seattle.
all scheduled to perform at a comedy club in Portland. And the comedy club decided after booking them, which you guys know, right? You're stand-up comedians. You book a date, you hold it. That means other clubs may reach out to you. You're committed. You've signed a contract. You're ready to go. So you're this weekend. You're going to be in Portland, and you turn down other work when it comes your way because you already have that scheduled. They go and they canceled those dates because the comedians' jokes did not align with the community's guidelines and values.
Right.
The club reached out to them to book them, then cancels them. Why? Because they're conservative comedians who like to make jokes.
Yeah, well, and that just goes to show you that the one side is in control. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that there's and thing that they do is they keep hiding behind safety, but we've never caused a safety issue. It's always them, but they want to put in things. So they have a $4 million worth of budget to hire security for guys like Milo Yiannopoulos, Ben Shapiro, and of course Candace Owens. They spent $4 million on security, and they make them pay for it. They make Turning Point USA, or they make one of these groups pay for it. So we need to fix this, and the only state taking it seriously is Florida. Florida has a new directive where they're putting a oversight inviting speakers on colleges, meaning that if you invite 2 Dylan Mulvaney's, you got to at least have 1 or 2 Kayvon Moeses and Vinny Oshanas that come in.
Yeah.
That way there's a balance. And of course, our governor went ahead and supported that. So it seems like there might be a way of other states kind of follow through with this, but that's what needs to happen. It needs to be like colleges are where fair and balanced speech can happen, and comedy shows from the left and the right can coexist.
And great point. And you know what it is too, which nobody really talks about? Hey, if you don't want to go see Kayvon, don't go see him. Keep your ass in your dorm room. Get some lotion. Do what you normally do. Like
Wear your mask. Go get vaccinated and not enjoy life.
Yeah,
'cause that's what they're
go get
doing.
your 5th booster, because people are making it like people are forcing you to go watch the comedy show. Like when people go, I can't believe this podcast is saying this. Don't watch it. Go do something else. Leave us the F alone to do our own shit. But that's before I lose.
Let me put a cherry on top of this.
Yeah.
The Catholic Church on campus across the street invited us in to do our show. So we actually got our show accomplished.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't easy. And the pastor or the priest was just like, just don't use the Lord's name in vain, and please don't curse.
I can't imagine.
You were too violent for church.
By the way,
you were so violent.
By the way, I wouldn't be able to do my set in church. But all right, guys. Moving on. Connor, criminal justice what the hell is going on? And Trump, criminal justice, and severed heads. What's happening?
What?
All right, story time, fellas. So this little story we're going on today begins with a man named Sheldon Johnson. He was on an episode of Joe Rogan, episode 2096, on February 1st. And I believe we have a clip of his appearance. This guy is a criminal justice reform advocate. He was a former member of the Bloods who did 25 years for an armed robbery. And after getting out, he is now an advocate for criminal justice reform, trying to help people stay on the straight and narrow, clean up their lives, and push for, more justice in the system. Here's a clip of that.
Okay.
It's just me being honest. It's just me being straight. I gave you something, and we had an understanding that you were going to pay me. And when I came home, when I finally located this particular individual, he had his girlfriend with him. And this guy owed me $5,000 for some drugs that I gave him on consignment. I gave him an eighth of a kilo, which is 125 grams of cocaine.
Damn.
He's good at math.
Hunter's drooling.
And when I saw him, he had a bunch of jewelry on. He was with his girlfriend. She had a bunch of jewelry on. And I said, hey, man, where's my money at? Oh, yo, I was going to pay you. And as far as I was concerned, his jewelry we was even. So I robbed him. And I took his jewelry. And his girlfriend happened to be there, and unfortunately, she got caught up in the situation. I had a bunch of young guys with me, and they robbed her as well. And he got hit in the head with the gun right here on the side of his head, and he had 2 stitches. And they gave me 25 years for that case.
Who got?
We can go ahead and cut that there.
Who got 25 years?
Sheldon Johnson got 25 years for assault, armed robbery. It was somebody else who committed the assault, but like he said, he had
the O.J. Simpson.
He had a bunch of goons with him, and he had them mug a guy that he gave drugs to. So after getting out, he's now he was released, I think, a little over a year ago. He's big on criminal justice reform, cleaning up the prison systems, helping people avoid going into prison. He's hobnobbed around with District Attorney Alvin Bragg in New York, who you might remember from the Trump classified documents case and the Stormy Daniels stuff. Not really the best guy, but seems like a guy who's trying to get his life on straight and clean everything up, right? Absolutely no chance you'd find a, dismembered corpse in his freezer. Well, it turns out that's exactly what happened. Roughly 2-3 weeks after he was on Rogan, so this was the beginning of March, neighbors reported hearing a man begging for his life inside Johnson's apartment, followed by a gunshot. Wow. And then police doing a welfare check found the man's severed head in Johnson's freezer.
Damn.
So Johnson shot this guy, who was a former inmate that did some time with him at Sing Sing, and then chopped him up, put part of him in a bin, the rest of it in the freezer, and tried to come up with a plan. I think we have some footage of him getting arrested.
Real shitty response time.
Yeah.
If the neighbors call and report, I heard a guy screaming for help for his life, then a gunshot, then they do a welfare check, and it takes them the time between the gunshot and the welfare check. The guy can dismember the entire dude and hide him in a freezer.
And I've never murdered anybody before, but I think I'd be better at it than that.
Yeah.
If someone's screaming
the
for their
details of
life
this
and then-
murder get even worse. Do we have footage of him getting arrested here? Yep. Getting dragged out.
What is that outfit?
I don't know why he was
It's
wearing
cold
that.
in the freezer.
Why'd you do it?
Why'd you cut up the body?
Wow.
Did they expect him to respond? I'm crazy. That's
How come?
why I did it.
And how come I can't get on Rogan?
He was out for a year.
Yeah.
Who's his agent?
Yeah, that
That's
guy's
what I wanna
agent
know.
is nasty.
There he goes. He's going to the ice box.
As he's going away, he's yelling out, "I'm innocent.
Yeah.
Do it."
Do it.
Not something to lose your head over, guys.
Yeah, well, I'm sure someone owed him some more jewelry from some.
But yeah, among all this, the investigation also found that there's security camera footage from the hallways of the apartment building of him dragging a bin up there.
Look, he's wearing a wig.
He put on disguises to go in and out, so
He
people
put on the
wouldn't
Donald
notice him
Trump
coming and
wig?
going.
Yeah, he went Trump.
Blonde wig. There's another one of him dressed like an old man.
That's Icy Smollett.
Truly ridiculous. So, for what I'm talking about here, this is what they have in mind when they talk about criminal justice reform.
Yeah, absolutely.
You hear a lot of people throw that around. What they're trying to do is get more men like Sheldon Johnson back out into the world.
Yeah.
They say, there's too many people in prison. They're just good people who made mistakes. We need to get them back out. This guy was out for about a year before he chopped up a dude and stored his head in a freezer.
Shot him, and then chopped his head off.
Shot him,
Jesus.
then cut off his legs, his arms, his head.
Bro, you know what? You know what type of person it takes to, besides the killing, that's already to chop off and saw every body part, dude.
Because that shows intent of like I'm trying to destroy the body.
Oh, for sure.
He was totally planning on taking that bin somewhere, dump it in the East River or whatever.
Bro.
But
Wow.
That's the guy that they mean when they talk about criminal justice reform. On a separate but related note, I want to go to this guy, Ben Crump. He is the balder, angrier, dumber version of Al Sharpton.
It's a great description. He's absolutely.
You wouldn't think the bar could get any lower, but this guy is a civil rights attorney who has been involved in every racially charged incident,
Everywhere.
from Trayvon Martin up to George Floyd and Breonna Taylor.
Yeah.
If
He's like an ambulance chaser.
If there's money to be made,
if
he's there.
there's racial grifting to be done, Ben Crump will be present. And he's been involved in all this stuff. Then recently there was an MSNBC segment called Black Men in America, The Road to 2024, where he sat down with Al Sharpton, a couple MSNBC contributors, and a few other civil rights activists. And this was his pitch on how to stop the problem of crime.
Okay.
Here we go.
We can get rid of all the crime in America overnight, just like that.
How?
And people ask how, Attorney Crump? Change the definition of crime. Of course, if you get to define what conduct is going to be made criminal, you can predict who the criminal is going to be.
That doesn't sound like we're criminal, though.
Yeah.
Our existence is
the culture.
criminal.
But they made the laws. They make the laws to criminalize our culture,
to fit us.
Black culture. I mean, and so when I think of Eric Garner, I always think of stuff like that.
Ooh, that's genius.
Cigarettes.
I did nothing. We sitting here the whole time, minding our business. What are you told you? I watched it. You watched it do what? Who did I sell cigarette to? Don't touch him, please.
Came over.
Not touch me.
There you go.
The guy lost his life. Yeah, and then George Floyd was trying to buy cigarettes and so forth. So you have to think about the profiling things that they come up with, the profilers for pretextual reasons. And it happens every day, y'all. They will come and say, you can't wear baggy pants. Right. Make that a crime. Right. You can't have milk cartons in your yard. Right. Make that a crime. Right.
Oh, okay.
So,
but by the way, let me just say they're doing an illegal pool game right now while they're talking.
I will withdraw every criticism I've ever made of Ben Crump if you can show me people who were arrested for milk cartons in their yard and wearing baggy pants and nothing else.
That's an HOA.
But they talk about not us. I hate to even say us, but people that go against the narrative that is out there, right?
Yeah.
Like we're the ones that come up with the profile of these people. They're the ones that said George Floyd was the one that was just trying to buy cigarettes. They're creating that profile, but the actual profile is the guy who held a firearm to a pregnant woman's belly and died of what could possibly have been a fentanyl overdose.
But that's what it technically was the fentanyl in his blood.
Trump's whole point was that they have criminalized black culture. And if we just change the definition of crime, there would be no more crime. Because the only reason anyone says something is illegal is to punish a black person for it.
Which is absolutely, it's so stupid because, and by the way, a huge portion that he left out about George Floyd, not only did he have multiple drugs on him, he was trying to use a counterfeit $20 bill at the gas station. And then when they showed up, all hell broke loose when all he had to do was just comply with the officer. Yeah, that's all you have to do.
The other one he brought up, and it's the clip they played, was Eric Garner. I'm sure you remember that. He was selling Lucy cigarettes, which is illegal because tobacco is a restricted product. So you can't just walk around selling loose cigarettes. He was also, it's unfair to the retailer who has to sell it. You can't just buy something in a package and then sell individual ones for profit. But selling loose cigarettes is not a capital offense.
No.
He should not have died in police custody. The reason he did die in police custody is because he then decided to start fighting with a cop.
And he weighs 380 pounds.
And the medical report, even though they found that the chokehold they put him in was the cause of death, they said heart disease, diabetes, and asthma, or heart disease, obesity, and asthma played a part.
Absolutely.
So he wasn't executed for selling loose cigarettes.
No.
He died while resisting arrest.
Resisting. There you go. There's one word that I'm telling you right now that'll stop you from dying. It's called comply. If you, by the way, I've been a victim of police brutality. I've been kicked in the, almost broke my ankle. My mom went to the police station to talk to the chief of police because I was trying to be like defiant. Just, I get it. They're cops. Everybody tries to act like they hate them. Just listen to what they say. That's it. It's not that hard.
The only way to mess up your day in that situation is to just start fighting back. Like, it would be fine if you just went with it.
Yeah, my dad always said, if you ever get pulled over, just let it play out, go by what they say, and then we'll figure everything out afterwards.
That's what I did.
But Crump's other point about
I'm also white and a privilege. So it's easy
criminalized
for him to say
you
that.
white privilege
That's
freak.
what I'm saying. They've criminalized black culture. What does Crump consider black culture to be? Resisting arrest, violating tobacco
Milk
laws,
crates and baggy pants, apparently.
But being destructive and defiant?
But they're
Because
doing that in
sounds
every
kind of racist.
in every realm now. They just changed the way things work, right? Because now showing up to work on time is like a white thing. They say cleaning your house is a white. They find the most outlandish things and they kind of tack on a little tag to them, and suddenly they're.
But now,
you know,
now
they mean
getting rid of the word criminal or crime.
Can I
just
just
make all crime legal?
When you guys watch, I see a lot of this on Twitter. I'd be interested to see if you see the same thing. When you guys watch videos on Twitter, do you guys ever see like a group of people attacking one person? Do you see that populating your feed a lot?
Constantly.
Can I
I'm
ask
that
you-
person.
Yeah. Okay, that was going to be my question. Normally, what is the racial makeup of the people
Black
doing the
people
attacking?
beating up a white person or an Asian person.
Why is that not a problem to anybody?
Or black people beating up another black person.
Oh no, I've seen
But
that multiple times.
And like I said, what I would apologize to Crump, if you can send a link in the comments of this video, a video of a large group of white teenagers beating up a single black teenager.
Oh, yeah. That
just
would never.
captured on film.
I'm sure it happens.
I'm sure it happens.
Of course it happens.
But it's not the
doesn't
frequency in
doesn't
which
get out
people
there.
can record it in 4K and post it to the World Star Hip Hop.
Exactly. So where are those videos? We're told that there's a massive problem of racial violence. Where's the video?
We have
of
a
it?
massive-
We have video of everything else.
We have a problem of lack of complying. The culture says stop snitching. That was a very popular thing in the 90s.
How about this? F the police.
F
That's
the
not a really
police.
good attitude to have
And-
when these people are freaking literally risking their lives to come this, because you're about to show this video.
Yeah,
right? Go ahead.
I'm not going to show the video because this incident did involve a 16-year-old girl dying, and I didn't want to play the clip of that.
Yeah.
But do you guys remember Micaiah Bryant in 2021?
Yeah, LeBron got
She
out.
was shot in Ohio while attempting to stab another girl.
Another black girl.
The cop, another black girl. The cop showed up while Micaiah was lunging at this girl with a knife. Possibly her last words before she died were, "I'ma stab the F out of you, bitch." And that's when the cop
Did they
shot.
put that on her tombstone? Because they should put last words.
It's not really inspirational video or anything, but the reactions to this were kind of nuts. It involved a bunch of people threatening the cops and everything, including LeBron James, who said, "You're next."
You're next.
He deleted
LeBron
that
James
tweet.
is a freaking douchebag.
But
he said he deleted it because he was sick of all the negative energy around.
The one I wanted to get to on the cultural issue came from black activist Bree Newsom, who's involved in all these situations as well. And quote, "Teenagers have been having fights, including fights involving knives, for eons. We do not need police to address these situations by showing up to the scene and using a weapon against one of the teenagers. Y'all need help. I mean that sincerely."
You're like, oh my God.
Yeah, easy to say there on Twitter, but if there's somebody lunging at you with a knife, I guarantee she's going to be like, "Where the fuck are the cops?"
That important cultural hallmark of teenagers having knife fights.
I
that
remember
sacred
that.
rite of passage in inner city communities.
How dare you interfere
Was
with
that in West
us
Side
trying to
Story?
stab each other?
Yeah.
But
Unbelievable.
West Side Story. Yeah, we're living in a time of the greasers.
They bring up all the stuff about Floyd, who had enough fentanyl in his system to kill a horse.
He's a patron saint.
and-
you watch your tongue.
I've committed a grave sin. I'll go donate to some kind of activist fund to atone.
And by the way, just because you guys are talking about George Floyd, can we be completely honest? Whoever was in charge of the murals and the artwork, horrible. Like every photo of him, just it's horrible. Couldn't they have hired one good artist?
I like that he gets statues.
Yeah.
He got
Get statues across the country where they're like, "We must remember that Black Lives Matter."
Yeah.
So here is the symbol of Black Lives, a fentanyl addict.
Yeah, I got that.
You guys can do so much better. We all know that that's possible. But, Crump is an idiot. His
good
proposal
point.
is terrible, but it's actually already in place in most major cities where they have effectively decriminalized most crime.
Right.
Violent assault, drug possession, all these things that disproportionately affect minority communities. It's just a slap on the wrist, and there's people back out onto the street. And not everyone who's furthered that agenda is some liberal Soros-backed DA who wants to destroy the country. We have this video here from a guy named Charles Duke Tanner. He was a former boxer in Philadelphia, and he was serving two life sentences for a, quote, first-time nonviolent drug offense. He was pardoned and released by Donald Trump in 2020. Let's see this video of him after he got out.
Okay. Here we go.
Charles Duke Tanner and I was sentenced to a double life sentence for my first arrest for a nonviolent drug offense in 2004. I lost all my appeals, and I was denied clemency by the Obama administration. It took 16 plus years before President Trump granted my clemency and allowed me to go home in 2020. I was a part of a broken and unjust system. And now it hurts me to the core to see the same system going after a former president. This is what blacks been going through since day one. If we allow this to happen to the former president, we can only imagine what's going to happen to the rest of the country. Please stand up now if you have a voice, and let's fight against this. God bless you all. Thank you.
Clearly, he's a big Trump supporter now. Trump got him out, and this is a sentiment that is growing in the black community as they see, Donald Trump getting harassed by the legal system and politicians go after him. They're now rallying around him. But a couple other facts about Mr. Tanner that didn't come up in that video. He wasn't a non-violent drug offender. He was the leader of a gang called the Renegades, according to the Chicago Tribune, a local gang that trafficked thousands of pounds of crack cocaine and marijuana. He was convicted in 2006 of conspiracy to distribute and possession with intent to distribute more than 50 grams of cocaine.
Great.
Excuse me. So through all that, he was the leader of a drug trafficking ring, and drug trafficking is never non-violent. I don't do drugs myself, so I don't know how that community works, but
it's not
I'm
good.
inclined to believe that if you're moving thousands of pounds of cocaine, it's not peace, love, and harmony as you get it from point A to point B. But this was a guy that appealed to Donald Trump. Donald Trump let him out. And now this guy is trumpeting Donald Trump's praises everywhere. And this was a repeat thing. You guys remember Alice Marie Johnson, the great grandma who was sentenced for a first-time drug offense that they touted? Trump also pardoned her. She was allowed out when she was essentially running another drug trafficking ring. She was doing money laundering and financing for them. She was only a great grandma because she had her first kid when she was a sophomore in high school.
Nice.
So they wanted to make you think, 90-year-old woman.
No, she's
busted with a joint. No, she was arrested at 38 and spent years in prison.
Great grandmother.
So on top of all that, he pardoned a bunch of other people alongside her because Kim Kardashian asked him to.
Yeah.
And including that was Kodak Black, the very popular Miami rapper who has been arrested dozens upon dozens of times.
He's a Christian. He has a cross on his forehead.
He's been arrested like 4 times since then.
Yep.
And bear in mind, this is what they mean when they say criminal justice reform.
Yeah.
And as we come up on the 2020 election and they talk about criminal justice reform.
You mean 2024?
Or 2024, I'm sorry. As we come up on that election, maybe let's reconsider what we mean when we talk about that.
I think so too, because
you want to reform the prison system, build bigger prisons.
Yeah, and I mean the whole thing about calling criminals not criminals anymore, and then defunding the police. It's like, let's just say you want to build Gotham City without saying you're going to build Gotham City where everybody's lawless and crazy. All right, guys, amazing episode. I want to thank everybody at home, YouTubers that are watching this. Thank you guys so much for all the support. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. Tell a friend. Click on the notification link. It's over there somewhere. And we have an announcement, right, Kelly?
Let's make it.
Kelly, if I'm saying it wrong, please tell me, came up with business true crime series. It's called Suits and Sinners. I'm gonna say it as a gay person.
Yeah.
Suits and Sinners.
Ooh.
It sounds a lot cooler.
Kelly, where's it gonna be on the
voice.
shorts and reels on what channel? On Unusual Suspects, guys. I saw a little sneak peek of it. She absolutely nailed it. It's interesting. It's freaking informative and it's educational. And I think it's amazing. Kelly, congratulations. I love you to death. You want to show it? Show the trailer, Kelly. Roll it. Kelly, that's my girl right there. That's my girl.
Crime is a big thing right now. People are talking about.
She has 90 jobs, and she keeps adding more to it. But guys, thank you so much. This was a freaking great episode. Everybody behind the scenes, Kelly, Jorge, everybody, Al, whoever's Jeremy, everybody, guys,
Victor.
and all you guys at home, keep fighting the good fight. It's us against them, and there's more us against them, but you gotta be in it to win it. I love you guys to death. God bless you guys all. Have a great weekend if I don't see you, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace and love.